What is good, people? Welcome back to another episode of Drive Time Crypto with me, Crypto Chris. And coming up on today's episode, 120 hours on, where is the Helium network? But just before we start the video, I just want to point out that I'm on the road to 300 subscribers. So please, guys, if you like this comment and you haven't already subscribed to my channel, could you please subscribe, because it really does help my community grow. With that being said, let's start the video. So last night I put out on my Twitter, 24 hours after Helium pushed the update out for hotspots and validators, erratic proof of coverage has been followed by a more settled period, but concerning that the data still shows the amount downward trending still. So as you can see, this is where the update started going out, and it was really falling off, and then they started pushing out updates for validators and hotspots, and then you saw this erratic sharp spike, and then followed by a drop off. I think this is where they reduced the amount of transactions per block right back down to 200, and then they said that they were going to increase it back up to 700. But as you can see, it's falling off down a downward trend. So where does that leave us this morning? Well, when you go on the blockchain, you can still see that, yes, that's the period of erraticness on the blockchain, followed by this, and it still seems to be downward trending the longer we go on. Again, on the witness count as well, it paints the same picture. Proof of coverage and the transaction rate, it's all trending the same. So that got me slightly concerned. Nevertheless, I've seen a slight bit of activity on my miner. That was 6 hours ago after 2 days of nothing. I'd just like to point out at this point as well is on my Helium app, I got a notification saying that my miner had not done anything for a substantial amount of time, and to check the settings, etc. I am worried that there is a lot of people being sent this notification. My thought process, and it's not actual advice, you do what you need to do, but I would say leave your miner alone. This is nothing to do with your miner, even though the app might be telling you to have a look and check the settings. I believe that this is a back-end problem on Helium, and don't touch miner. And nevertheless, 3 hours later I got your miner is back online, and I didn't do anything because it was happening in the middle of the night. So yeah, I'd suggest maybe not touching your miner. Now, saying that though, that did get me thinking, because obviously on the previous videos I have had a look around me, and I've seen that different miners are sometimes producing different things, different setups. So the Helium announcement, they said that the hotspot release is now available, and makers will take and release and send the update to the fleet of hotspots. So that made me think, is this a minor issue? Has the validators done what they needed to do? Is it manufacturers that are letting us down and not pushing the update? So I went to Reddit and I did a bit of a poll. Granted, there's 100 votes on it, so it's not a massive spectrum of what's going on the network, but nevertheless, they always say round about 100 will give you a genuine reflection on scales of economy. So and 40% are still saying that the miners are potato. 30% are saying that Bobcat is producing now 18% SenseCap, 12% rack. So Bobcat seems to be leading the way with the rewards being picked back up, because that was what my question was inevitably, I'm trying to find out if the miner makes a difference to the rewards at the moment. But nevertheless, yeah, it's the general percentage still says that they're not really doing anything, as shown on my miner as well. So that made me think, is it the manufacturers that haven't pushed the update? So last night I sent a tweet out to the general manufacturers of the miners for the Helium network, and only SenseCap got back to me. And they put, yes, we did it on Saturday. For more details, jump into an update announcement on Discord. Now, I'm not part of the Discord channels for the other miners. I am now, nevertheless, for the sake of this video, but I was never on their Discords, and I don't understand the MO for all the latest crypto startups, etc., that they find that Discord is the way to do the announcements. Why can't they just do it on other social media platforms? Because if you go on SenseCap, if you go on Bobcat, if you go on Rack, none of them have updated the Twitter to say that they're pushing these out, and I don't understand when it's a viable source of social media that they can't do the updates. Nevertheless, I went onto their Discord, so if I go onto Bobcat's notification there. You can see it there. Bobcat pushed out the latest OTA update. So they have confirmed on their Discord that they've done it. And if you go on the rack one, they also say that that the updates have hit some speed bumps, but there, as it says, the miner core will update automatically when released by the Nova team. So that's been done now, and obviously this is just confirming what the tweet said, that the firmware version which contains the PLC related improvements has been pushed out. So this is saying that the manufacturers are doing what they need to do on the network. So when you see that the transaction rates and the proof of coverage rates are still downward trending, this has got to be the validators that are still not getting their act together, that maybe pushed the updates through, which has now caused more problems for validators that may have been online, which have now gone back offline, or the updates haven't been pushed through on all the validators, which means that they're not receiving rewards or even trying to now, which is causing this downward trend. Nevertheless, we're hoping that the dev team behind it are going to get all over it and sort it. I do believe Helium are trying to sort it. This isn't throwing shade on Helium. This is more throwing shade on the validators, which aren't doing as they should do. If it transpires that the validators are pushing the updates through and it's actually a development issue from Helium, then at that point, then yeah, I will change my opinion as long as I've got grounded facts and research on this. But at the moment, off what I can tell, off doing a little bit of research for myself, that I generally believe that this is still a validator problem. This is why we're not seeing the transaction rate and the proof of coverage going on. Hopefully, we're going to see it pick up over the next few days. Granted, it's only been about 120 hours since they pushed this update out, and they've been very transparent that they have been having problems and pushing updates through the Helium community. So we'll have to wait and see. What I also did was I just wanted to see where we were at as a community. So I put out another poll just to see how everybody's feeling, and I gave a couple of options. I gave short-term concern, long-term concern of the network, short-term concern, short-term not concerned, long-term bullish, and will be leaving when I get my return of investment. Now, I should have probably changed that, or put will be leaving when I got return of investment, or selling miner before. And I also give the option of nothing's changed in my opinion on the network. Now this has got over 400 votes on it. I'm not going to break down the percentage, but it seems like quite a split camp, that um, there's no real short-term concern and long-term bullish. That one's produced the most results. So the sentiment is that we're still going to be okay, and it's quite close between. There's no real change on the opinion on the network, and there is no and the short-term concern and long-term concern, that's kind of like they're in the same ballpark. So it's kind of evening itself out. I do think the general consensus, the general sentiment on the network is still good, because of the results we've got there. Again, it's only 400 volts. It's not a snapshot of the full network, but it gives you an idea of the sentiment on the network. And what is good to be seeing, that the smallest number will believe it is what on the will be leaving when I get a return of investment, because if that was the highest result in this poll, that would be concerning, because as more miners leave, then you've got less proof of coverage in potentially in certain areas. I know the cities probably wouldn't be affected, but in certain areas, and if there isn't that coverage there, then it becomes less appealing for companies to use the network. It's all about the coverage. So to see that is low gives me hope as well, because then it's still an attractive product for companies, and that is what we need. Helium to be an attractive product for companies, because then they use it, then we get to carry on mining, and we still get the rewards, and the network will still get growing. Nevertheless, that's whereabouts we're up to at the moment. I just thought I'd give you a quick update, as we're a few days on, and we're through the weekend now. I will keep on monitoring it. I'll keep on monitoring the Discords. If anything changes, if we see a sudden upturn, if I see a sudden upturn on my miner, I'll keep on deep diving and seeing if I can get you any more information to keep you guys up to date. Let me know in the comments what's your thought processes on it. Let me know if on the questions on the poll that I put out, what your thought process is on the network. And if I could ask you to give me a like as well on this video, that would be really appreciated. And again, guys, if you've not subscribed, if you could please subscribe to my channel, that would be really appreciated. Until next time, guys, I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.